Is
Mikos, you ready?
Oh.
cable people ready to go back there?
He's good.
He said good?
Yep.
Okay. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. And I'll call the regular Board of Trustees meeting to order. And I have a short invocation again. And, it's, Father, we ask for wisdom, guidance, and discernment in the decisions that we make that affect our village and its residents. We also ask you to watch over our police and all who serve. Roll call, please.
Trustee Keller.
Here.
Trustee McGurran.
Here.
Trustee Nelson.
Here.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
Trustee Pike.
Here.
Trustee Porter.
Here.
And President Wecken.
Here. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, review and approve minutes from the regular board meeting of May 6th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the May 6th, 2025 Board of Trustee meeting.
Thank you, Barb.
A second.
John, thank you. Any amendments, corrections, or additions to the minutes?
Yes.
Here.
Stan, Mary did notice that there was a typo under one of, I'm just trying to pull it up now on this one, where it accidentally says instead of Howell, it says Powell with a P. So we need to correct the spelling of Matt's name. And then it said, sorry, so right here, funds received if Powell. And so we'll change that, and then it says can find a way to generate appropriate, and it should have been cannot find a way to generate appropriate wood chips. So those two updates were pointed out by Trustee McGurran, and we will make those updates.
That sounds good. Anybody have any comments on that? Then all in favor of making the adjustments to correct the spellings and stuff, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Comments from the floor. It's an opportunity for the Village of North Hudson residents, property owners, and business owners to make the board aware of topics, issues, and opportunities not on today's agenda. Is there anyone making comments? No, they're not. Oh, Dan, of course.
Yes, I'm Dan Schmidt. I live at 756 Summit Lane North. I would like to speak briefly about your discussion about the sale of the property on the St. Croix River that the village owns.
It's on the agenda.
Yes, sir, I understand that.
And
I did not have an opportunity ever to address it since it hadn't come before any planning commission or any other public comment. So I think it'd be appropriate if I could speak for a few minutes.
I'll give you 2 minutes, and hopefully it'll be something that we haven't heard before.
Okay. Well, I'll skip to the meat of the matter then, if that's your response. First point I'd like to make is your appraisal states the value based on the property remaining in conservancy as it is currently zoned, that no improvements would be made on it as the property is in a floodplain. That's what your appraisal says. Having been in the banking business for nearly 4 decades, I can tell you lots of appraisals get done that don't provide the information you really want and may have some inaccuracies. But if you're making your decisions based on that, I think you should reconsider those decisions or get the right information. Also, the conservancy zoning and a lot of detail about the property regulations that impact it is part of the information that Mark Garrity provided to you at the February meeting. There's a bullet point page. There is considerable information about the lower St. Croix regulations, which are part of the village's zoning. So I thought maybe I'd mention that. So appreciate you giving me 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. President's comments. I'd just like to say there's been a lot of work being done on the comprehensive plan. There's been a lot of people involved in that, and I would just like to thank all involved in that and who are continuing to work on the plan to get it finalized. So it's much appreciated. And then the only thing else I got is I hope everybody has a happy Father's Day. Gina?
Yeah, the only update that I have this month would be around the Board of Review meeting took place on May 13th as scheduled. There were no corrections that were filed by any residents, so the paperwork has all been filed and our Board of Review process is complete.
Anything else?
That's all I got this month.
Okay, item 5, review application for conveyance of land filed by Steve McFarland, discussion and possible recommendation.
Stan, I move to approve the application for conveyance of land between the adjoining properties of Steve McFarland at 207 and 215 Monroe Street North.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Discussion?
I can't say I quite understood it. Is he moving, where is he? Oh.
Yep.
Are you moving a boundary on one of the two lots, making it more compliant to setbacks, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm Steve McFarland. I own both sides of the property line. These are the old rail shops in North Hudson, and we're working on renovations of Building 6 right now that you all are aware of. And we're just looking to add a little bit more room to that piece of property. So there's 2 parcels there, and we're moving the property line south 24 feet, just to give a little bit more room to those garage condos.
South on lot 6.
Actually, we would be, is it lot 6? It's
8, right?
Yeah, lot 8 is expanding and taking 24 feet of lot 7.
Oh, okay. And you have both lots?
Yep,
So, okay.
yep. So
That makes
just,
sense.
it's about 9,000 square feet that we're talking about, just moving it south a little bit.
And per our ordinances, because Steve is the property owner of both properties, he submitted the application as requested. It was provided to our zoning administrator. He did have a chance to take a look at it, had no concerns. We sent it to Kevin from an engineering perspective, also had no concerns. And so then the policy or the procedure that is laid out in the ordinances says that it comes directly to the board in this situation. So that's why we have the motion.
These are exceptions to the subdivision ordinance because you're not creating any new lots. You're just redrawing a line in the paper, basically, so.
That he owns both properties there, right?
And it wouldn't matter if he didn't. It's still
Yeah.
adjoining landowners. So it's a simple one.
Okay. I got no problem with that. Any other discussion? Well, hearing none, all in favor of the application for conveyance of land, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 6.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Item 6 is review Lake Malibu drawdown request, discussion and possible recommendations.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Brian.
Second.
Thanks, Dusty. I guess, I mean, I don't have a lot of information on this, but I mean, and I've lived here long enough that that lake has been drawn down more than 2 or 3 times, I believe correct, and we definitely, I know I've talked to the city of Hudson and stuff, and everybody I've talked to said they're very much in agreement. We have to do something to change that pond. You know, it's just, it's, you know,
President Wecken, I have a little bit of background that I could provide, unless you
Okay.
want Susie to come up to speak to it.
yeah, if you want to, yeah, that's fine.
So the board packet has a May 23rd letter from Stantec on behalf of the Lake Malibu Association. That's their consultant with more detailed background that's in the board packet on the drawdown to remediate sediment accumulation. That sediment accumulated during a series of breaches at the Little Falls Dam between 2015 and 2019. The Lake Malibu Association engaged Stantec, and they have a request for the drawdown to be submitted to the Wisconsin DNR. It has to be approved by Wisconsin DNR and the owners of the dam, which include the village, the county, and the city. The drawdown was approved by St. Croix County on 5/27/25 and by the city of Hudson 6/2/25. This request is to do the drawdown between September 1st, 2025 and May 1st, 2026 to mobilize the sediments.
Thank you, Mary. Any other comments or whatever?
Well, last night they asked Hudson, so are we going to be able to ice fish out there
Well, they do now.
with it drawn down? The idea is
Oh.
this is drawn down all winter long. So on the east end, I guess it'll be fairly shallow, closer to the dam, though you could probably do some ice fishing, they said.
That'd be the west
If you
end.
really, or the west end, if you really wanted to. Uh, Probably not a whole lot of skating going on. The idea, they said, was so during the winter months, what'll happen is that sediment will all pack down and it'll eliminate it basically. They said this is at least the second time in 20 years that we've drawn it down and done that exact same thing. Helps with the carp problem. All the mussels and stuff will have the opportunity to move to the deep end, so we won't be killing off everything in there. It sounded like a good idea to me.
Oh, no, I'm just curious on how much they're gonna drop the lake. I mean,
They say 5 inches a day. It's in here, I think. Isn't it,
That's in the
Mary?
letter.
And Hudson PUC is going to do the drawdown?
It's
On our side.
677 feet total
Yeah.
to they're going to draw it down to an elevation of 677 feet.
So they're going to take it 5 inches at a day. And Mary read the dates, right?
Yep.
no, I'm, like I said, I can't see anybody being really against trying to get that lake back to where it used to be many, many years ago.
Hudson
I've fished that lake for over 50, 60 years, and you know, and it's depressing for me because it used to be a great fishery and a place where you could take your kids and swim and do all kinds of stuff. Right now, I don't think I would want to take anybody into that lake, but that's
Well, it should clean all the junk up, too.
well, that's, yeah, hopefully. I mean, because if you drive down there, depending on where the wind's from,
Yeah.
you know, you got nothing but sludge in it against our property owners that pay their fair share.
Yeah.
And I would really, hope that we can get this mitigated and could get that lake. It's a unbelievable valuable asset for here, and I think we should, we do everything we can with, I know the Wisconsin DNR are not really helpful in a lot of stuff, but I know we have people working on that keeps their, foot to the fire and stuff, so I appreciate that. I'm this one just drives me crazy that they haven't, when they blew that dam up above, and I can't believe what they did to two different fisheries. Oh. All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
So it says between September 30th or May 1st that they would bring it back, right? So what is the impact to the animals in there, like the fish, right? It won't freeze it out, I'm sure, the whole lake, but that means how many fish are going to be in that one deep blue? What's the impact there? It says minimal impact, but then it says to go this far. But if you're, how deep is it on the other side?
17 feet. Is a crew cut.
Yeah.
In the deepest part? Okay, so
No.
the backside where it's shallow.
Anything, we need to be up at the microphone.
Yeah.
We need to
So
get
we
the
can
microphone.
record it? Yeah, yep, come on up.
Name, address.
Down by the dam.
So you weren't around here when they did it before, right?
No, I wasn't here.
So apologies, Jeff Lavers, I live 1319 Riverside Drive, so I'm on the north shore of the lake, and I'm a member of the Lake Association Board. The overall depth of the lake near the dam is 17 feet. That's the deepest part of the lake by far. The plan is, according to DNR, by doing the 5 inches a day maximum drawdown, the fish migrate. It gives them plenty of time to be able to go there, plenty of room and space. There will always be a continuous flow from the Willow River coming through the lake, so they always have migration components within that as well.
So this only draws down the west end of the lake?
The drawdown takes the lake down basically, let's say 3 feet in overall depth. So where you'll see is on the shoreline along the eastern side with that is where the water comes out and it compacts the sediment and other things there. The sediment actually doesn't flow through, it just compacts down,
Right.
freezes over the winter. And we think that will help tremendously in terms of reducing the impact on the lake.
So it's 17 feet by the dam. The
Yes.
other side of the lake, how deep is that there?
It ranges anywhere from 2 to 5 feet.
So it'll go down to 0 feet for part of it, if we're going 3 feet lower.
Correct. Along the shorelines, it will be basically hard pan. Well, it's not hard pan, but
Where it
it'll
comes
be.
in from the Willow River, I know it goes very shallow for a lot. There's a couple where you hit a couple pockets where it's 4 feet in that area, which is what it is. But that's just what I worry about, is just the fish.
So the river still flows the
Right.
entire time
Yep.
with that, and that will always be there. And there's, according to DNR, it allows it to migrate
Okay.
for the fish.
Just turn into a river.
Well, I understand. I love going kayaking back that way for the
It-
for fishing center.
So according to DNR, it will help the channels to improve kayaking future forward. Because the river will naturally cut a new path, which allows depth for kayaking. That's what we're told. And I would add, according to DNR, natural migration of a lake is every 5 to 7 years if it's not a flowage, so just a normal lake churns every 5 to 7 years. So they actually advocate flowage lakes like the Malibu actually do a drawdown every 5 to 7 years to recreate what a natural lake does in terms of the health of the lake. So our plan is, going forward, the last drawdown was in 2009, so it's been quite some time. So we would like to get on a cycle, if you will, to mimic that of a natural lake, which actually greatly improves the overall health and well-being of the lake.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm 100% on board with getting that lake back to where it used to be 60 years ago when I used to fish it. So, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anybody else comments?
So Stan, we'll just need a motion then.
I thought we
I
did
believe
that.
Mary has a,
Brian did a motion.
Brian did the motion,
I second
okay,
it.
sorry.
They got a Brian and Dusty, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the drawdown request, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, next item, number 7, 2025-2026 Class A, B alcohol beverage licenses, cigarette licenses, and amusement permits. Is there a motion?
Stan, I move to approve Class A and B alcohol beverage licenses for 501 Tavern, Express Lane, Gov's Place, Quick Trip, Malibu Inn, Stars Bar Inc., Village Inn Sports Bar and Grill, and Village Liquor Store as specified in our document.
Thank you, Brennan. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Barb. Comments or questions?
I noticed Giovanni's is not.
Boy,
there.
crickets.
I think they're closed.
What's that?
Giovanni's.
Yeah, I think.
Ah,
they're closed, but I don't know.
They didn't apply.
They
right?
did not apply.
Okay.
Oh,
And, yeah, and
Jean-
Cozy's not here either.
yeah. No, so we have 2 spots that are available, but, no, I'm good with that. Any other questions or comments?
Question?
Yes?
Is it, I couldn't tell from all of the documents, did all of the establishments that need to pass their health inspection for the kitchen, because the one for Stars looked like it expired in the end of June of this month, and it wasn't clear that there was anything after that?
Yeah, so it does expire, and that has every year. I did look into that. So all that we need in order to do this approval for the liquor license is that they have a current, and they do have a current. Every year it's been that same date, and they have always renewed in time for that previous year. But for purposes of our approval, all we need to know is it is current as of the day we approve, and it is through the end of the month.
Thank you. And so all those health inspections, the other ones were passed,
Correct.
and the fire inspections were all passed.
Yes,
There were
they
some
were.
orders, but everything was passed.
Everything ended up passing, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Question?
Stan, I will sustain from the vote. Sustain.
Excuse me?
I will not vote on this.
Okay. Kirk is abstaining because,
Not cozy.
Not cozy, I know. No problems. Okay, so Kirk's abstaining. Any other comments we haven't heard? So all in favor of approving the licenses and permits, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
And Stan, second motion, I move to approve the tobacco sales license over the counter for Malibu Inn, Express Lane, and Quick Trip, effective date July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, as recommended by the village clerk.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Question on the violations for Quick Trip, the alcohol tobacco violations that were not at this specific Quick Trip, but were at others owned by the franchise. Do those impact the approval for this particular Quick Trip? So they were just included for our information.
That's how I understand it through the tobacco arms and our contact with the tobacco agency. Yes, correct. Department of, thank you. Department of Revenue.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the cigarette approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Third one, Stan, is motion to approve the coin-operated amusements license for 501 Tavern, Malibu Inn, Stars Bar, the Village Inn, and Gov's Place with an effective date of July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, as recommended by village clerk.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
I second.
Thanks, Barb. Discussion? Hearing none.
Stan, I will sustain from this
Oh,
vote.
quick.
I'll stand.
Stan, okay. All in favor of the approval of the amusement permits, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you. You got any more on that list, Brian?
Nope, that's it. On to number 8.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 8, Resolution 2025-04, Department of Natural Resources, Review of Compliance Maintenance Annual Report, CMR, that we do every year. Approval requested.
Move to approve.
Thanks, Brian. Is there a second?
I second.
Barb. Any questions or comments? This is, we do this every year, so, and we've always had no problems or anything with the DNR, so.
Stan, I did continue, last year was the first year that I recommended that we move our financial grading to an F, simply because from a standpoint that we're not receiving any revenue anymore on these systems, and so we did that last year, and so I kept that at an F rating again this year. I did comment that we have since applied to the PSC for the consolidation with the city of Hudson, and once that is approved, that the city and the village have an agreed upon plan in place to address the financial aspects of both the current debt against the infrastructure, as well as a plan to fund the maintenance and replacement costs moving forward. So again, I don't foresee any issues being raised, but that is why we graded ourselves with an F for the financial aspect of the CMAR.
Thank you. Anything
Question?
else? What?
So, question.
Okay.
So we also have a section grade F under the sewage collection system. Is that related to the finance? Because it appears to be related to the maintenance.
It is related to
Page 4, I think it
thank
is.
you. That is not, that is related, sorry, Mary, because we have that negative balance of that 17,000, which was for that sewer. So if we look at the couple of funds we have the sewer fund, we have the water fund. The sewer fund is under, the water fund is over, so our total funds associated with it are positive, but that sewer fund is representing that 17,000 negative balance.
So it's not about the practices that we have for maintenance, it's about the finances.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Alrighty then. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor of Resolution 2025-04 for the CMAR, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Plan Commission recommendations. Chair update.
Oh, sorry, Stan, we have the,
Oops, I got the wrong schedule.
it's okay, it's the number 9.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, number 9, review request to purchase village-owned land filed by Bruce Lenzen. Discussion, possible recommendations.
Stan, can I motion to delay the sale of the land to Bruce Lenzen with the idea that our attorney hasn't had time to go over the contract he sent in?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a discussion? I mean,
Just feels like a little rushed. If he hasn't gone over this, we really don't make sales without our attorney going over a contract.
Yeah, this is the first I've seen this, is
We-
when I got
yeah.
it here.
Yeah, no, we're not mad at you for it.
I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, and it also should go through Plan Commission because conceivably it's gonna deal with a park area.
Does it need to go through Plan Commission if there isn't a park there? Where there's not been an approval for a park, there isn't a motion to put a park, there isn't anything about a park that is in place? But it would go there if you read the proposal to, I believe it was line 650, 655 and 656, it is to rezone the classification. That probably is the part, but not because there's a park.
Yeah, there is no current park there.
Correct. And there is no proposal to put a park there in place today.
Correct.
Yeah, so.
So this is it that's at our table here? This is what
Yeah.
the offer is? Yeah, I haven't seen this.
No, we just got it, is it?
Okay, well,
Right when we got here.
I'll
Well, that's why I'm asking for a delay. Seems reasonable, but.
Any other comments or questions?
So we were waiting for Hudson, as per our last discussion on this property in another session, for Hudson. And Hudson met with Stan and me, asked us to meet about what we were talking about as the sale of this property, because they are one of the entities. The county has already said, yes, they will follow our lead. And I think it was a week ago, in a short meeting, Hudson has agreed to sell the property.
what are these meetings and why, what meetings and who's having meetings and under what authority are these meetings being held?
Mayor called a meeting to discuss with Stan what we were trying to do with selling this property.
I didn't know we were trying to sell this property.
That was discussed months ago, and yeah.
Yeah.
It's been presented to us a number of times, number of board meetings. It's been discussed during Rails and Trails meetings coming up here.
Selling the property?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was part of the Rails and Trails needs.
We got a estimate on the value of the property, but we did not discuss selling it.
That
We
was
got
the
a value to understand what it was valued at.
That was the purpose of the appraisal.
I do want to state too that I really want to work with Bruce on this. I think Rails and Trails needs him. So this is kind of a two-way street of what we're working on. It just, can't approve this right now, but it's really important that he's with us. He's been nothing but completely open and honest with us. All of these conversations we've had for a couple months now, so he's definitely been open and honest with everything he's said with us.
Selling the property and the Rails and Trails are two separate decisions, and they're two separate processes. Those are not, one is not contingent on the other.
That's an opinion.
Yeah.
So I guess
I'll
just
accept that as an opinion.
one comment, because I've done lots of development work. And there's two important documents in developments. One is the purchase agreement to sell the land. The other is the development agreement, which is the agreement between the municipality and the developer. And we're all talking about what's this package is going to look like when it's done. And that's the development agreement that's going to talk about, the village sells the land. Well, what's going to be built there? Is there going to be any public space? Is there going to be access? What's going to be developed? So, what we have here is half of it. And the more important part typically is the development agreement part. Sale of the land's easy. You get some legal descriptions, you do some title work, it's going to have to be rezoned. It is all part of this process. There should be a development agreement and maybe multi-party with the village and the city all involved. So in the end result, everyone knows what's going to happen there.
This,
I think we should vote on the motion.
It's discussion, we could still talk.
To postpone it for 30 days?
Yeah, and I'd like to go through this.
Right. No, I mean,
I'm familiar with the form, but still.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's, when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, I really, really like our attorneys to be able to look it over and guide us in the proper direction. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with this, and I would have, I would like to, that's where we met with Hudson. Hudson was, they called the meeting. It wasn't me or Brian or anybody else. They said, let's just get this, on the table. What are your feelings? Because they're, those little pieces of of dirt down there are there, but I mean, there's nothing much you can do with them other than attach them to a bigger piece of property that you can, get some revenue and taxes off from. Yeah, I'm just, I'd like to get this done, so that we can get,
I have a question.
move on. Yes, Barb.
So in this contract that we just were handed, and I kind of was skimming through it, it does have a date on there of July 31st of this year, so contingent on that date as well. And I understand that if we push it out, can we get it that far? And we don't have to honor that, and we don't have to say yes, and I totally understand that. But is there a way, if we get his development plan in place, if he gets it, well, here's another thing. He's going to waste all the money to do a development plan for land that he doesn't own yet. Or does he go ahead and do the development plan for land that he could potentially own if we say yes to a sale? That's two different issues too, I think, also. But if he gets that plan, gets it to the Plan Commission, and they approve this, and you've had a chance to look at the contract, if they approve that, could it possibly be on the first week in July meeting?
Well, it would have to be, the approval for this maybe, but it's still going to have to be rezoned.
Right, doesn't that go through the Plan Commission? So if they approved that they agree with this sale, they are approving the rezoning because that is contingent in here as well.
Yeah,
So
but that's a different process. Rezoning is a separate process with a public hearing,
Oh, okay.
separate notices,
Got you.
Plan Commission Board.
And this offer is contingent on rezoning, so what you're saying is, yeah, those things don't match up at all. And if our attorney could please also advise us at the next meeting regarding the floodplain designation of that area and the other restrictions on what might happen in that area based on state law.
I thought we talked about that at one of them, and it was if there's development in that area, that is a floodplain. But if it's not being developed on the floodplain part, does that
There's
come into play?
Yeah, there's difference between a floodplain area and floodway area.
Right?
And the floodplain doesn't necessarily mean you can't develop. You have to look at the elevations, you have to look at mitigation in terms of, if you're gonna take something out of the fringe area, you compensate that by doing something else so you don't increase flooding down the way.
Right.
Now, in this case, it's a huge, big river, and the little area we're talking about isn't gonna impact that
Right.
too much. But you still need to get the improvements above that elevation.
Right.
And whether you do that on stilts, or you do that by bringing in fill,
That'd be part of the plan.
that would be
Development
That would be the
plans then.
developer's prerogative, along with his engineers,
Yeah.
to figure that out.
A-
The one thing, I know this is contingent on rezoning, but it should also be contingent, if you want to sign it now, on some sort of development agreement. So if that doesn't happen, then the village can back out if they want to.
So are we asking for a development agreement as though we sold the land? Are we,
The development agreement would assume the land would be sold,
okay.
and the land would be rezoned, and then what project is going to happen. So it's a win-win between developer and village.
Right, so the next step is actually going to the planning commission, because they handle the development plan? They work
Well,
with,
I think, one of my recommendations is going to be to come up with that development agreement.
but that goes to plan, right?
Yeah, that's part of the planning commission, to see the vision from both sides, and, there's moving parts here. The other part is, if it's zoned conservancy, it's gonna go to residential. You also have to look at the comp plan. because under state law, you can't rezone anything that's inconsistent with the comp plan. So if the comp plan now says that, and I haven't looked at it for tonight, but if that comp plan says this area should be conservancy in the future land use portion, then it may take a comp plan amendment to, as the first steps, before you can do the rezone. So there's moving parts.
One other comment I'd like to make, and that is that the current valuation that we have on this property is based on it as it is, not as a residential development. And if all of those things happen, then we need to get a reevaluation of the property, because it's certainly going to be worth a lot more. 1,500 feet of lakefront is going to be worth, riverfront is going to be worth a lot more than the estimate that we have right now.
I have two questions.
Isn't there a rule about what we can sell it for?
You can sell it for whatever you want to sell it for.
I thought as a municipality, we had to get an appraisal
No.
and match the appraisal.
You don't have to. This is not a taking for a roadway or anything like that.
Okay.
This is a negotiation.
And I do believe that the appraisals, don't quote me for sure, but I thought it had mentioned something about the land not being usable or something like it's not valuable land to anybody. It's just he priced it on the footage that is there or something.
Yeah, it was appraised for the individual parts. It
Well, I thought
was-
we presented it for possibly selling it. So if we got the value for if he was to develop on it and if it was sold just as is. I thought that was our appraisal.
I think it was just for the part
Oh, I thought we asked for
as
both.
it was. But anyway, and this is my personal take here. You know, purchase price is a short-term thing. Considering where this is and considering this project, I think it's more important to get a good project that's a win for the village and the residents and the developer as it is for some money. I mean, municipalities all the time will come in and discount their land value to get a project that is going to have impact and benefit for the community as a whole. Whether that's employment, whether that's, in this case, it's not going to be employment, but it could be some amenities and just taking an area with a ton of potential down there and making it better for everybody.
And I do believe that Mr. Lenzen came in and he showed us what his intentions were for as is and what's in the future. So we do have an idea of what he is envisioning. We did the presentation in the last meeting, so we do have that. And we don't have the drawn up official documents for the plan, which I know that we need,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and
it's
that's
not
the thing,
blind.
that's the thing, you know, you look at that a little closer. You know, we saw it up on the screen, but, you know, then you get down in the details.
Well, there it gets down to the elevation, and
The elevation and, you know, is this an access road that's gonna go to the dam? Is that public, or is that just for the public works people to do maintenance on the dam? Or
and this is all stuff that would be in the plan.
that
the
would be
planning
part of your
document, right?
development agreement.
Development agreement, thank you,
Yeah,
I'm using the wrong words.
As to what, just look at the area as a whole, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So
Oh, I have a
President Wecken
question.
can, yep, go ahead.
Oh, I have a question. So, I mean, listening to a few things too, and then talking about the whole flood zoning or floodplain issues that they're bringing up right now. To my knowledge, our neighbors to the south of us, everybody on First Street is in a flood zone area as well, and there's development in that whole spot of it. Is that
And-
correct?
And some of it may be pre-existing, depending on the age of it.
Would that be, when it comes to that portion of everything, would it be an ordinance that has to be through the village in regards to development in a floodplain, flood zone area?
Yeah, that's gonna be the village and the DNR and looking at the rules and the regs for that. Yeah.
Doesn't it go on the owner, the developer, the person who owns the land too, they have to get that approved for the DNR. If the DNR shuts them down, it's shut down, so that
Yeah.
is also in,
Yeah, you know, the flood stuff,
right.
Bruce has done a lot of stuff
Right.
along the river. He knows the riverway, and he knows
The
about
rules.
floods.
Right. So, one last question, I hope. The last meeting that we had, it was talking about a discrepancy in the zoning, like it was thrown into conservatory, and I understand that our map has it as conservatory.
Yep.
There was research that was going to be done. Was that done?
Well, the zoning map for the village is what controls the zoning, and I had a brief discussion with Gina today about that, and I think some of the confusion was, if you look at the county records, which essentially are based on the tax rolls. Now, there's designations for tax assessment, which can show commercial, or it can show residential, but those are not zoning. Those are what the assessor uses for tax purposes, for real estate tax purposes, not zoning for the village of Hudson. So even though your tax bill may say commercial on there, it could be zoned something else.
And Barb, on the map that I handed out along with the purchase document, I think the clarification, if I understand it, is it's a really fine red line, but there's a red line pointing to a small piece of purple.
Yep.
When Bruce was saying he could develop as industrial or commercial today, because without getting a rezoning, it's on that piece of purple,
Yeah.
not the green down below.
Right in smack dab residential area that we have it right now. So it's between the Malibu apartments and the residence homes that are right there. Got you.
But it was, I printed this out because I know when we were all looking at that map from the last meeting, all you see is green. And I just wanted to point out that the piece he was specifically talking about, if the village chooses not to sell the land and not to rezone to residential, he would then develop the piece that is currently listed as industrial.
Well, and I
Or
know
commercial,
that
yeah.
for, rezoning from conservancy, I mean, the Hanson property, which is up across from the bank, it borders, or the old bank, now fireworks store, that was conservancy at one time, and it was rezoned to go commercial. And the board, that was prior to me being on a board or whatever, but that we've done, rezoning of conservancy or whatever, and a lot of times, I mean, I live on a piece of property that was conservancy over 40 years ago, so I mean, you're not doing anything that hasn't been done in the past.
Can I make a recommendation or a request to say that in order to change the land that is there right now, we have a clear-cut document that states what has to take place? So if to change it from conservatory today to residential, what is that going to require from us as trustees, from the village? Because the comp plan, you said we have to follow the comp plan
Yep.
loosely. I don't have the exact wording in my brain right now, but can we
Can't be
get that?
inconsistent.
Yes, so I would like to have that.
I don't think that's part of this motion, but that could be something that we need moving forward.
Well, I want that when we get this,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, when this all comes to play, it would be nice to have that black and white broken
Step by
down.
step.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Well, and I think it's important that we remember that right now, this isn't just conservancy land. This is beautiful land on the Wild River, on the St. Croix, abutting Lake Malibu. This isn't just any parcel. This is a beautiful piece of land that is not replicable anywhere. And so as we think about giving it up, that's what I'm hearing this discussion is, giving it up, what do we get for the residents that allows them to enjoy this beautiful river access?
Well, I seem to remember the last time that Mr. Lenzen talked with us and stuff, that there was going to be, some availability for parkland down there, and he doesn't have to do that. He could say, you're done. And, you know, and it's, to me, I mean, I think a development like that down there with access to the river, which you'll always have, because you can get, you know, there's what do they call that, you know, high water mark or whatever that people can get at. You know, that's, you know, and with the parking, that was in the last thing. Yeah, people are still going to be able to go down there. It's not that you're going to cut it off you're not taking it out of the public use. You're actually enhancing the chance for public use.
And to clarify, if we don't do anything,
What's
it's not,
that?
to clarify, if we don't do anything, it's not available for public use today.
Right now, yeah.
But
Other than Mr. Linzen allowing certain people to go down there and fish. We're already there. It's not allowed today.
But certain decisions that we make will forever alter our ability to have any future options there. Because right now, we own it. It is owned. It is our communities. They own it.
We have a little piece of it.
Yes, we do.
The
It's
community does own
it's a very significant piece, or we wouldn't all be having apparently multiple meetings about selling it.
President Wecken, can I clarify my understanding of then what the next steps would be? So with the motion to withdraw this discussion item until the next meeting, if I'm understanding Paul correctly, what that would do is allow for us to review the offer to purchase, which just came in this evening, and provide any feedback we have on that. And then assuming that we were able to get this back on the agenda in July, or Paul, if I was trying to follow and make sure I understand, we could, as a board, make a decision about this offer to purchase and make it contingent on a development plan being approved by our plan committee and then eventually presented to the board. If I was understanding, we wouldn't need that to be completed in order to accept this offer with a contingency, or did I misunderstand?
I mean, the offer is going to have contingencies in it.
Yeah,
It already
okay.
has one for the rezone.
Correct.
We'll have to look at the comp plan to see if there is needed a comp plan amendment.
Okay.
And another one would be some sort of development agreement. And that would, give rights, not so much for the rezone, that's a benefit for the developer, but the development agreement would have rights for both sides to back out if we can't make a deal. But the one advantage to the developer, by doing it and having an agreement, he knows the price, he knows that there's a possibility of the sale if these other things can be met.
Sure.
So that question has been answered. We're going to start down this path, and there's risks for developers. They got to spend a little money and draw some plans, and that's part of the game.
Paul, the estimate that we have, though, is for the land not being developed. So he really doesn't know the price of the land, and nor do we,
Yeah,
based
and-
on.
And that's the offer.
I don't know if that's
Right
true
now.
or not. I thought we told the
Yeah.
guy looking at it to do a combination, or we at least let the real estate agent know that what he is thinking about doing.
If we're going to sell it, we should put it on the market and see how much we can get. If that's really what this board wants to do, is give that up, we should put it on the market and see how much we can get.
What? Okay. Okay.
So
With the development on it, not just raw land, but like
Apparently, that's, yeah.
because I'm just thinking about the property tax that the development garners.
$2,500 per million.
Are any of these pieces that we're talking about developable?
Nope, you can't build
their
on it.
own?
they can't do anything, and that's what he said, that the land was useless to anything if it's there. If we don't sell the land, we don't do anything with the land, it is completely useless for anything. It's land that cannot be developed on.
And that is true for any land that you buy. You pay for the price of the land. You don't pay for the potential of the land. That's just,
And I'd like to give you credit. I mean, it is a beautiful spot. It is public doesn't have access today. If we want them to have in the future, we'd have to rezone it. So that's two issues right there that It's not right now available to the public. If it'd have to be rezoned for it to be available to the public. It'd have to be rezoned if we want to sell it this way. The revenue that we could receive if we sold it is a whole different thing. Also, the village of North Hudson has 2 parks, I do believe, on the river just down a little ways. So there's still access to the river for all of the residents and public.
And I haven't, with, you said it's not accessible to the public. I'll guarantee you the public is there constant.
Right now.
But
They're
it's
right
not,
now.
it's the, what is the land, what did you say? It's not, it's not open to the public
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah.
State your name, address, who you are.
Bruce Lenzen, obviously the person who made the offer. Just to clarify that, I simply have not enforced on the south side. I simply have not, I've allowed the public to continue using, going down there and fish, but I've just allowed it. On the north side, I don't just allow it. I actually use, you have to have literally permission, either on your phone or I enforce that side of it. But I have the right at any time to enforce the south side, which will shut down all access to the river. So just for a note, you are 100% correct, Barb. I'm just allowing it as being a good citizen, and I want to see that continue in perpetuity. Everyone here has seen, I believe, what I'm proposing, which is going to allow all these things to happen. And so, another point here is that, just to address the appraisal, the appraisal is not on my property. It's for those 3 parcels that are adjoining that, which the largest one is not accessible other than by boat by anyone in the village. I simply haven't enforced my rights to close it off. That's why it's worthless, totally worthless. And I hope that people look. I did send Eugenia the plan I presented to the Rails and Trails, and I'm keeping access to the majority of the property and creating this park. That's the goal. Just letting everybody know. What I'm hoping for is an indication that, and I'm not saying approve what I proposed here, approve it with all the contingencies. I just want to know, are you willing to work with me and make this happen, make this dream happen? That's what I'm hoping for. So before I start, I can't put a development plan if I don't know what I have. That's all. That's what I'm looking for. So, thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Any other comments or questions?
I'm done.
Okay, then the motion is to move it 30 days and without further discussion, all in favor, well, it probably should be, do we need a roll call for that, or just all in favor of the motion to postpone for 30 days, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We'll see you next month on that one. Thanks, Bruce. Okay. Okay, now we can go to Plan Commission recommendations, chair update, and
Well,
our attorney is here for the chair update.
yeah, we did meet. We discussed 2 things. One was, the Plan Commission voted to change their meeting time from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So that was
What day
well
is that?
received.
What day is that?
It's Wednesdays, the third Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Third Wednesday.
Okay, thanks.
And the other is the Pepperfest development. And they have applied for a conditional use permit to allow their use in the residential zone. The Plan Commission voted to recommend approval of the conditional use permit with a number of conditions which are listed. There was a good discussion about and questions about how the facility would operate. You know, hours, parking, handicap parking, lighting, there was all good questions. The first step is to get the conditional use permit in place, and if I'm missing something, feel free to speak up, and then, you know, work on the operations, work on how we come up with parking for this, and some of the details, some of the practical things to make sure everyone is okay with how it's going to be developed and operated. So, but other than that, it was a lot of support from Plan Commission for it.
So move to approve. There a request to move the Plan Commission meeting from 7 to 6, discussion.
Second.
Sorry, second. That was item B.
I'm in trouble keeping up with you guys tonight. It's earlier night. But. Okay, we had the update. We had the move the meeting. Any discussion on moving the meeting up to 6? Hearing none. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, item C is review conditional use permit application by Tim Zeiss, DBA as North Hudson Pepper Festival, Inc., to construct a community center and pavilion located at 704 Monroe Street, pin number 161-1040-50-000. Discussion, possible recommendations.
Move to approve.
I second.
Thank you.
And that's approving with these conditions?
With these conditions that are in front of us, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the permit application, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Okay, item
Looks
11.
pretty, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Item 11 is personnel, finance committee recommendations, claims approval requested.
Stan, I move to approve the June 2025 non-recurring claims of $92,615.21.
Thank you, Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Dusty. Comments or questions?
Gina, anything out of the ordinary?
Not out of the ordinary, but the two largest expenses include a annual payment, the first part of our annual payment to our auditors, Clifton Larson Allen, for $10,000. And the second one is a payment of $66,000 to the Zappa Brothers for a final payment of our Browns Beach project. Once we have that paid, we will start working on the our grant reimbursement, so we can get the money back that we had applied for that grant for Browns Beach. So those are the two big expenses.
How much was that grant?
67.
Okay.
So Gina, I was down at Browns Beach a week or so ago. It looks really nice, but there is some sizable erosion beginning on the side of the steps going down. And that may have been, it was from the rain that just ran off. And that was before the rain that we had now. And a couple places that looked like it was starting, you could even see, looked like a hole, like a little small sinkhole, but off the steps. And would that be Zappa Brothers' responsibility? Because if it's not taken care of, it's gonna continue to get worse.
You might need a chute.
Yeah, I'll have, we'll look into that.
Yeah, some map
Okay.
on there.
Yep.
Good point. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, it's claims approval. Mary?
Yes.
Yes.
Dusty? Barb?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Unanimous, thank you. Okay. Review motion to update the employee handbook to address compensatory time for non-exempt employees. Is there a motion?
Stan, I move to update the employee handbook, Section D, compensatory time, number 6, non-exempt employees, bullet C, to state the following. A renewable cap of 40 hours shall be in effect each year of the agreement, with the employee being able to carry over 40 hours of compensatory time into the next year.
Thank you, Brandon. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Comments or questions?
I'll talk a little bit about this. This came from myself. So currently, our non-exempt or hourly employees within the employee handbook, so that is the PD admin, our public works staff, and our deputy clerk. Within that handbook, they are not allowed to renew their compensation time in a given calendar year. So when they hit 40 hours of compensation time, no matter if they earn 40 more, or if they use that 40 and get down to 0, we don't allow them to bank any more comp time. And so what ends up happening is almost, both of the public works employees currently are already at that 40 hours. And so from this point forward, any hours they work over 40, we pay them out at time and a half for overtime. And both of them would much rather have that comp time and have time back to spend with their families the same time they gave to put in the overtime. So what I'm proposing is a change to our employee handbook to allow those hours to be renewable. Still cap them at 40, so if they get up to 40 after a long winter, they take a spring break and they go down to 0, and then they put in a lot of hours over the summer, and then they hit the fall and they take a break and go down to 0. They can continue to do that throughout the year and then carry those 40 hours over. Just to note, I know it's a little bit different because they're contractual, but the hourly PD staff have the ability to renew their hours, and they also can go up to 60. So we would still be well within the limits of what we offer our other hourly employees through that contract. And again, I think the key point is we are paying them today overtime rates when they go above that 40. And so I think, from my understanding, this was put in place quite a few years back because there was a misuse of the comp time.
I did the same
Yes,
thing.
I know. It's been a long day. Comp time. Yeah. And so what we've talked with the different directors and myself, and we would clearly manage it so that it wasn't misused and end up with somebody who has a large bank that needs to be paid out after they leave. So I think it can be solved by management instead of by policy.
So Kirk and Stan and I ran into this 10 years ago, where we had to pay out a unbelievable comp time. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much this had when this person retired, essentially. And so we locked it down to where it is today. And I don't think at the time that we thought through, if they run out of comp time, now we're paying them time and a half back in the day. And so I think this is a good idea, but it really would be nice at budget time to know where this thing sits, year by year, because the board changes, our staff changes, and somehow that all got lost, and that's why that guy's numbers were so high.
Sure.
So managing it is huge, and I just think maybe somehow you could report on that at
Sure.
budget time on how we're doing to make sure it's okay.
Yep, sure can.
But it's never going to go over 40 hours.
It'll never go over 40 if we accept this motion as is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the proposed change to the compensatory time for non-exempt, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, it looks like we're up to Public Works. Brian?
Stan, we did meet. Lately, the guys have been, and they probably have noticed, they've been working on the parks, putting the new wood chips in. If you haven't noticed or haven't been around the village, you should be able to notice. And these chips are smaller chips, the kind that have been requested. And hopefully you'll find that they're looking just much better. I've had some really good comments already. Number two, we had bids for doing our chip replacement, chip sealing, we call it, come in, and the Public Works staff approved Farner. So I make a motion to approve Farner Asphalt Sealers bid for 2025 chip sealing, and the quote is $23,258.62.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Can I ask a question?
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yes.
Kurt. Now you can ask a
Okay,
question.
Okay. So, what chip sealing, that's not when they spray the stuff and then spray little rock on top
That's
of it.
exactly what it is.
Okay, that's exactly what it is.
Now, this group is gonna do it in a little different way than we've had the county in the past, and we're spending a little bit more, because these guys, after talking it over with, they actually showed up. And after talking it over, they have better chips. We're not sure exactly what that all means. They came out and measured, and we had estimates from the county. So our number from the county was an estimate, and we weren't sure, is it gonna be more? The numbers didn't match on county estimate versus Farner going out and actually measuring. And it's the two streets, as you can see, Station Circle North, Station Lane North. So we went with these guys for just a little bit more, but it's guaranteed also. In the past, where we had a little issue with the county, it took them a while to come back. So this is guaranteed work, and they're gonna, anything that isn't done right, they come back and fix. They do take one, they would like to take one swipe. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work. They wanna spray the whole street. They're gonna go out and clean the whole street first, brush it, clean it. And they are hoping to just take one big swipe. And I'm not familiar enough in my head with Station up there if there are ways people can get around to avoid the guys trying to do one big sweep at a time. You know, putting all the black stuff down and then going and chipping it. But that's what's gonna happen if we approve this.
Question. The CIP projects for chip sealing from 24 through 27, none of them include Stanton Circle or Station Circle? How did those streets get prioritized over the CIP?
This is a budget item, not a CIP item. We budget for chip sealing every year.
Wouldn't we budget for the priorities based on the Pacers and the?
They do it, they pick the streets based on Pacer ratings, yes. The CIP, the capital improvement plan, is used for major projects, big capital projects. Like the next one we've got coming up, million something, to do Monroe Street.
Which
That's-
got postponed.
That's a CIP.
Yeah, but I mean, they pushed it out to 27 now or something like that?
Did we push it that far?
I don't.
I don't know, but after Monroe was Galahad to Wisconsin, and then the retaining walls on Riverside
It's
Drive.
been updated.
That's an old one. Been a lot updated.
So because this is the one that's posted on the village website. So you're saying this is not the actual CIP?
Did Kevin give you the new one?
It's posted
Possible.
last meeting.
Well, that's, okay, this is what's posted
Okay.
on the website.
This is, if we go into our agendas, it's on there.
Okay, but this is posted on the website.
So I'll,
We gonna update that for us,
Yep.
please? Thank
I will
you.
do that.
Yeah, we worked for a couple meetings trying to get that thing up to date.
So you're saying Stanton Circle and Station Circle are now priorities?
Yes.
Thank you.
We leave that really, to be honest, we leave that to the engineer and our Director of Public Works to make those choices, because they have to report every year the Pacer ratings.
And any other questions or comments? Hearing none, let's see, the motion is to approve Farner asphalt sealers for the 2025 chip sealing. Brian?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
That's all I got.
Beautiful. Okay, Public Safety Committee recommendations, Dusty?
That is me. As a productive first meeting, nothing to bring to the board, but I'm sure we're gonna have some stuff coming our next meeting. That's all I got.
That's all. Okay, great. And Public Welfare Committee, Kirkster?
Nothing to bring forward.
Nothing to report. How about Park Board?
Okay, so like Trustee Pike, I've received a lot of positive feedback from the community about the new wood chips at Deer Run and Woodcrest, and so thank you, Gina and Matt and Public Works for getting this done. Also have had positive feedback on the pickleball courts, so great assets. We are working on our capital planning for priorities, and I want to make sure everyone is aware that we are changing the week for the June meeting temporarily to June 24th at 6 p.m. So the week is changed, and then 6 p.m. is to accommodate the River Channel, and we'll have a discussion at the June meeting about if there'll be any long-term changes to the time to accommodate River Channel's ability to televise those meetings. That's it.
I know I've had comments from folks that they winter down south or Arizona area where they get so many pickleball courts on this in their development area down there, and he said these are really nice pickleball courts, and they just the fence went in yesterday, I believe, so you can separate them now, and they've he suggested there's a coating you can put on them, which will be discussed down the road or something, but to lengthen them, and it does make it a slick or whatever. But no, it was somebody that plays pickleball, and down in Arizona they light all their pickleball courts for night use because it's too hot during the day. So that's and I think these are going to be, it's a great asset. I mean, I know Hudson is they charge for theirs on there or whatever, but I mean but no, they'll get plenty of use once people get used to or get into it. It's looks like it's a good activity for folks and stuff. So
Well,
appreciate
Trustee
that.
Nelson and the Public Works Director did a lot of work to get that done. So it's really
Was that-
great. Yep.
Matt?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kirk.
Matt. And do we need to vote on this meeting time change, Gina?
I apologize. I must have misread the minutes. I thought it was being proposed for all meetings moving forward. I didn't realize.
I
it was
will at the
just-
next meeting. It'll go on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah, I misread that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Well, let's see. That would mean item 16, we are adjourned at 7:18. Back when we were scheduling or starting at 7 o'clock,